Alright, let's get started. So first let's take some of the time to finish up whatever we want to try in last class. We finished, if you still remember, in last class we tried to write a function how to save those things, how to save the positions, how to save the names and those informations into a XML file, and we learned what is XML, and it's like the format, the general format of the XML. So we try to save enemy, and we finish up this function load enemy, but we haven't get enough time to try that yet. So the logic here is we need to be clear about the structure of your XML file. So to that you're fully aware of what is the first child of the XML file and what is the sub-component of that child, and where can you find those information: name, X position, Y position, Z position, right? So here, let's see. This is the XML test code, and let me see. My XML test to save. So it's gonna be in your game folder. Remember, this is a game folder, and this is the assets folder. This is a game folder. So you should be able to find the XML file here, which called my XML test.save. So this is the thing we save, and let's say what is inside. So we save the we have a tag, because this is the date of our last class, so I use 1024, and we have an anime tag, which is kind of a mark that starting from here we will have some information, the subcomponents of the animation, which in this case is the name and the 3 value of that position. Okay, so this is like the first level, the anime is the second level, and this name position are in the third level. Okay, so be clear about the relationship between these levels. Okay, and then when we load, we're also doing the same thing. We're trying to load it from the child of that first node, which is this one, and then we see then we find the name, X position, Y position, Z position, and give it to that location, give it to the transform of that enemy. So let's see. Sorry, if we are trying to the load enemy, and we need to save enemy, load enemies. So if I press 2, I should be able to load those into my game object, load the position into my game object. Let's see if we can actually do that. Enemy. I got the wrong thing. So yeah, one thing important about using this send message is you have to make sure that you have a receiver. Like if I see if I put the method name as load enemy, you cannot just say load enemies here, because it has to be perfectly match the name, the function name, and the message. Okay. All right.
You have on line 35, enemy name is enemy with a lowercase e. Is that why I can't find it? On 35.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so be careful about this issue. Let's see. You still need the file name, enemy. Yeah, we need actually. Let's see if that works. That's because we didn't give any instance to this X enemy yet. Now let's see. Yeah, we need to do this. Yeah, so I think, I don't know if you have realized the problem. So we have a non-point exception here. That's because we're using this X enemy documentation. It's XML documentation. So we created X enemy new XML document, but we did not load any XML file into that yet, right? So in this start, what we need to do is X enemy. We need assign a value. Not assign value. We need to load. Yeah. Load XML, and we give the string, which is the file name. And the path, it's e file name. Okay, so that it knows where is the XML. Now it should work. Okay, same working. Let's try. If we move it here and we move this here. Okay, let's see if we can. Alright, so it basically loads the position into the so this is a position that we save. When we're doing the save to XML, this is a position. And if we somehow the enemy change the position and it's gone, this is here. If we press a load, it should like reset the position to its original position. So yeah, that means the whole thing works. Alright, now let's finish this part and go to today's content. So today we're going to talk about something more interesting. So we will have a music class today. Yeah. So we will talk about the audio, the music, the background music. We'll talk about effect music, the sound effect. We will talk about the atmosphere effect. Okay, so that's all how you play the video. I don't know if you have tried that or not. So some basic things I want to talk about is, first, if you want to play a video in your game, you have any audio sound effects in your game, and you want the user to hear that, you have to have a audio listener attached to your game object. So this thing. Otherwise, it's hard to. Otherwise. So the audio listener works as your ears inside this game environment. Okay, and in Unity you can simulate different kinds of audio. You can simulate just the mono effects, or you can simulate 3D audio, which you can tell how far is it. It's to your left, to your right, or you can just play background music, which doesn't matter how far is it. Okay, so now let's see. So one important thing is this audio listener. You have to have that in place in the game object, under the game object. Okay, and let's see what we can do now. So yeah. So this is a player I made. Okay, so these are sounds from one of the band, from my advisor's band. So he created all those music with effects from the games, things like that. All right. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of sound effects here. Okay, all those sound effects come from that band of my advisor. Okay, he's a gamer as well, so he did a lot of music. He write a lot of music with the effect from the game. So yeah, so these are some of the samples here. We have 5 of them. So think about a playlist. What do we do in playlist? We usually have some functionalities. Think about your maybe iPod or iPhone, any player. Okay, we have a play. We have a method called play, right? Pause. Also, we have method which lets you go to the next song. And in order to play this list, we have different options. One is to play that in order 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other is randomly play another song, because you don't want you want surprise. You don't want always listen to one song after the other. So sometimes you randomize the order to play. Okay, so let's try to finish that. Let's try to make a simple player today to kind of create this playlist, randomize the playlist, and go to the next song, things like that. Okay. So the purpose today is that we can manipulate through and listen to this music. Okay. So this is a script I already finished. And now I'm gonna start over. I create a player. Okay. So what needs to be played in Unity. First, if you have those sounds, those files of your audio effects, any audio files, you have to import them into this Unity assets. You cannot, because everything of them need to work as an audio clip in your Unity script, so that before you can actually use that audio clip, you kind of need to, you cannot just load the sounds from your MP3 file and just use that directly as audio clip. It has some convert process in between. So yeah, of course you can do the convert process with your code. You can just load the XML. You can just load MP3 file and play that in your game. Also, what you can do is you do that processing. You pre-process this audio files into whatever can be identified by as the audio clip in the Unity. So all these 6 files, they are kind of pre-processed by the Unity as an assets in the Unity, such as you want to use the FBX model, you kind of need to import that into your assets. And you want to use the image, you cannot just use a JPEG, but you have to import it and do some pre-processing. Let the system pre-process that. Okay, so that's another thing. All right, now let's see how can we actually do that. How can we actually do the player? All right. Now first, let's think about the requirements. Okay. What functionality do you want to have as a player? It's a background music player. So when you play a game, it has some background music, just like in general players. Right? You have a method called play. Right?
Make a sound when like you perform an action.
Make a sound.
When you jump or when you land.
Oh, now what I want to mention, that's the sound effect of a game. But now I'm talking about background music. Think about the player, the music player, not sound effects yet. Okay. So think about music player. So those Huh?
When you get close to an enemy, change the
enemy
background music.
Okay, so yeah, stop thinking about anything about the enemy, the game, the content of the game. So right now it's a purely background music. We want to play, just what I mentioned. Play, go to next, and randomize and play in order, right? Okay. Now let's think about that. Maybe we need a function called play, right? Play music. And another function, pause. Yeah. Next. Right. We play the next. Okay, in order to play the music, we actually play the music list. And we have a void play music randomly. Random. Okay, so let's look at these 3 functions. Okay, first. All right. So if we are trying to play the music list, like the list order, first we need to have a list of music, right? So what do we do here? public, we use the list. We need a list of music. So here we use audio clips. So it is of a type of audio clip, right? So it's a list. New list of audio clip, right? So right now we have a list of some, and we put it as a public, so that let's get our sounds first. Player sounds list. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the sounds. So here we put 6 as the size, and if we put 6, the index is from 0 to 5. Remember that part. So we drag each of them into our music player. Okay. And okay, now we have this list here ready for us to play. And what do we do in the play music list, which is the most simple one? It's just we take the music out of the list and play them one by one, right? So, but another thing you want to yeah, let me finish that first. So it should be easy, right? So it's a song list. Yeah. And we do need a current song. So we start from 0, and then song list current song dot play. Oh. This actually will return a audio clip. What we need to do is we need, yeah, when we want to play, we need another component. It's called audio source, and then we put this clip into the source, then we play that. How you do that? Pay attention to here. Get component audio source. Audio source clip. Okay, so we grab one of the audio clip from this list, and then we assign that audio clip to the audio source. Then we should be able to play that with our audio source. Audio source dot play. Okay, so this should work, right? So, will this working? Will this work?
You haven't called it
Yeah, sure. Let's just call this what do I call it? Play music list. Will this work?
Won't that restart every time?
Yeah, exactly. The problem here is it will restart every frame because we're calling this update, right? But if we are putting this into the start function, it will start only once, and then it cannot go to the next automatically, right? So yeah, we have next here. Yeah. But I want to give you another maybe idea of implement that is to be safe. You always want to check. So if we want to call this in the play music list, right? So what we want to do here is we want to check the condition. We want to check a condition. So if we want to avoid it to be restart every frame, what do we do?
Check to see if it's already blank.
Yeah, suppose we do not have this next yet. We just have a play music list, and then yeah, I hear one of you saying that we need to check if it's already being played or not. Okay, so the whole thing here is okay, there we use the audio source. There's the is playing function here, which actually lets you it's actually not a function, it's just a boolean. Yeah. So if it's not playing, then we start to play the clip. Okay. Yeah, so this will work, but still we need some of the way to let it automatically go to the next, right? So let's see, how do we set the next? So here we still need some part here to see shall we go to next, or shall we stay here, or if we reach the end, what's gonna happen?
Or on the last line, underneath the dot play, just put current song plus plus. So once that first one stops, the next time it calls, it will start the next one.
Yeah, but that still gives you a problem, because when you reach the end of the list, like the 6th song, it will go to the 7th, but we do not have the 7th. We want it to go back, right? So we need
If it's not equal to length minus 1?
yeah, yes, exactly. That's what I'm gonna do here. If current song here you want to be very careful. If it's we don't want it to be great or equal to the sun list dot capacity. Sometimes you have to tweak around here, this part. So when we reach the end, actually, if we have 5 suns, when we reach the end, the capacity is 6. So if we reach the 6, it's actually will cause this out of boundary. So we cannot let it go to 6, right? So if it's greater or equal to 6, when it's greater or equal to 6, we need to put it as 0. Right. And else we want to do current sun plus plus. Do you think that's correct or not?
I feel like you should use a count instead of capacity.
Huh? What 1% at a time?
I think you should use count instead of capacity because capacity isn't necessarily represent like all the items in the list. Like I think it might represent more sometimes.
Yeah, okay. So let's assume that the capacity is exactly the number of music there because we set it up this way. So the capacity is actually the number. So it's 6, yeah?
That's going to start playing the second song. You're increasing current song before you actually play.
Yeah, that's one potential problem. And then another problem. Yeah, if you're sensitive enough, you'll find another problem here. That problem won't give us like arrow, but it will skip one song. But here, we will have some arrow here. We will have some arrow here. So if you think at the end, sometimes you think about the boundary. That's one way. Yeah, that's one thing. When we are arriving at boundary, we have we actually jump one of them. But if we are at the end, say sun's capacity is 6, and the current sun, if it is 5, suppose it is 5. 5 is actually the index of 5 is actually the last sun, right? Well, it's 5. If it's 5, it still won't be reset to 0. It will go here, becomes 6. So if you give 6 here, it will out of boundary because this can only take up to 5, from 0 to 5. That's 6 suns. Sometimes it's confusing because we start from index of 0, or sometimes when we talk about capacity, it's 6. But here, yeah, be very careful about that. Think about the boundary. Sometimes you have those out of boundary arrow exceptions. So here actually it should be -1. Yeah, it should be -1. Okay, now let's see. You will still have that problem of skipping one, but it should work. Like, yeah. So yeah, that's a playlist. We do not have GUI yet, but let's see if we can actually play the first. Yeah, so that's the first song. So let me do some player settings here. We want this to end on background so that. Okay, that's fine. Let's do the next thing while we're listening to this music. Okay, so next let's do a thing called randomize. Right, we want to finish this thing called play the music random. Okay, so it's gonna be very similar to that play current song, but this time we don't worry about what is the current. We don't worry about to manipulate the index, if it's out of boundary or not. So we just want to have a way to randomize the order or play a random song. Yeah. There are different ways actually. So if you think about the playlist, one way to implement that is when you actually hit the button of play random, it will actually randomize the whole set of music and then play them one by one. Another way is you don't know what is the next until you actually play the next. You know what I mean? So first is create a randomized list. Another way is just we select what we are going to play at the end of each song. Okay, so we are going to do the second way. When we actually go to the next, we decide what we are going to play next. So here we are doing the same thing, but right now. So one of the things I want you to have this sense is, if you look at this play music list here, we have a get component audio source. We call these functions actually 3 times. So this actually will have some overhead there. So maybe here you cannot tell that because it's a simple program, and that get component audio source won't give you a lot of cost on your computer's resource. But if that get component audio source take like a second, then you will waste another 2 seconds by calling them again. So what you want to do is you want to just call them once. So since we're going to use this audio source, so we call it once, get component. Audio source. Then we're doing the same thing. If it's playing, if it's not playing, same thing, right? We don't want to interrupt those things. Okay, so what we do is, remember we have current song. We actually get a random use this random function to get a thing. I think you're pretty familiar with random. We have used that in many projects. And let's see. And we generate a range. from 0. I think we from 0 to the max. What is the max?
The song list capacity -1.
Actually, you just need the song list dot capacity. So why there's no -1?
Because it's not inclusive.
Yeah, yes, that's exclusive. That's actually excluded. So it's actually generates things from 0 to song list capacity -1. But here it's actually this is inclusive and this number is exclusive. So when you use this math, it's kind of weird, but yeah. But it makes you easier here to remember that you just put the song list dot capacity here, so you don't have to tweak those -1 thing here. Okay, so it's Linux, and then what we're using is we're no longer calling that, so it's a source and the same thing dot clip, right, is song list current song, and we're doing the same thing like here, source dot play so that's a random play function. That's pretty easy. Just here it's we need to be careful about how you're gonna increase the current song. Here is we need to it's actually less amount of lines of code here in this random. Yeah. Okay, and then we need to do something here in this update. We need to decide if we're going to play music list or play random. Play music random. So we kind of want a boolean there. We want a boolean here. Public. Play random. By default we make it false, so by default we play as a list order. So if we are not playing random, if playing random, this is gonna make more sense. We're doing play random, right? Else we just play this list. Okay, so that's we can control how we can control this play random and play list. And there's something also so we can play music random, play music list. Then let's do something else. Now let's, because if we want to test it, if it's random or not, or right now what we can do is yeah, and you're correct. It's actually direct to playing the second sound, which is the first. And from this audio source, you can tell the current audio clip it's being played is this map world. If we click this play randomly, right now we have no way, not here, not this script, sorry. If we have this play random, we don't know if that play randomly or not until it go to the next. So we won't kind of have a sun. We won't have a GUI that help us to test if this are working or not, right? So we kind of want this next function. So given this playlist and play random, how do we do the play next? Here. If you think here, there's a condition in common for these two methods. When this condition is met, this will go to the next sun for both of the methods. So what is that condition?
We stop the music playing.
Yes. So we kind of doing it in a lazy way, because we find out that here we detect if it's playing or not. So if it's not playing, it's actually go to the next sun. Either it's on the list order or it is in the random order. So we just do stop. Stop. Then it will go to the next. Okay. And then we try to use a GUI to test this out. Okay, I just did this GUI last night, so yeah. Void, we have a on GUI function. Yes. Private on GUI function. So let's see. If we use on GUI, we need a rectangle. Window. If you still remember how do we do in the GUI, how are we doing the GUI? We are actually doing and we call this window player. Those things we do not have them yet. Now we need to create them. So it's a rectangle, new rect, and remember we gave the position and the length and width here. Let's just give 100, 100, and 500. 300. Okay, so it's x, y, width and height. Okay, is it height? Yeah, width and height. Okay, OBS Studio, just break. Alright, so and then we actually have this GUI function here, which we call it ACH GUI. So that this controls how we actually doing this thing. Yeah. So we need maybe a button. with the GUI layout. First we begin this area to make it looks better. New rectangle. Give it 15, 25, 700, 300. Okay. And then we created that GUI layout dot button. We actually want to do the next in this button so that we can test if we actually play randomly or not. Okay. And then we kind of define the GUI buttons GUI layout. We define the buttons white. So again, all this GUI thing, you actually have that control. You actually have another logic to control those GUI elements in Unity GUI system. But here, since this is a scripting class, I'm trying to finish everything through the script here. So we call next. Right, go next. Okay. And we're trying to use we want to try to use the GUI to control this random or not thing as well. So we use the toggle to decide if it's playing with the list order or it's playing with the random order. So this is of this logic. Play random. Yeah. Let me first write this out. Layout.toggle. Okay, let me explain this a little bit. For this toggle, maybe I haven't mentioned about that in our previous projects or lectures, but we use the button a lot. But this toggle is the same thing. So it will create that toggle you can click, you can select on your screen. But be careful about those parameters here. Okay, so this list actually gives you the maybe a tag, a label of that toggle. So when you have a toggle there, it will show list. Okay, and this is actually decided whether this toggle is selected or not. Okay, so if say play random is true, then this whole thing will return a false. Then this toggle will be like not selected because status of not selected. Okay, and if it's not selected, this whole statement will return a false because it's not selected. Right? Makes sense. And if you put this here, it becomes true. Then this play random variable becomes true. Okay. So if it's not list, it is play random. The logic is here. This controls whether it is selected or not. And this will return if it's selected or not. But if we assign value here, if we have another toggle here, okay. Does this two make sense to you? These two statements make sense to you? Yeah, it's kind of weird, but this is how we control only one of the toggle can be selected. Right? Because this toggle is always like the opposite of this one. If we are playing random, this will be selected, this will be true. If we are not playing random, if we play this will be true. So this play random will be false. This will be true. And this is false. Okay, that makes sense? That part makes sense? Yeah. Now let's see what is a grid look like. What does a grid look like? So we have a list, we have random, right? We have random, we have list. So that actually controls only one of them can be selected. Okay, so right now the current sound index is 1. If we're playing list, now it's mad word. Then it should be this second one. Let's see if it's okay. No, 4 5 0. Okay, 1 2 2 is the this one, the theme. Let's see. Yeah, so this is actually the 2, the second one, because it's in the playlist. Next song is gonna be number 3. So Victim Cash, that's the name of the band. Yeah. Okay, so this is the fourth one, and then we will have the fifth one, sixth one, and it will jump to 0. Right? If you pay attention to this index, it's 1 2 3 4 5 0. Right? If we're doing the random, let's see how this will change. Yeah, I kind of want to hear the music. Okay, if we play random, now this is the 0, the index is 0, and it's 4, it's 2, it's 1. So it's kind of jumping around because we're using a random function. Okay, so that's how we finish this. How we finish this. Play music random, play list, and go to next, and with a GUI. Okay, and there's something I also want to mention is actually with this audio source you can have a lot of control. If you look at this inspector, you have a loop, you have a which you can play this song again and again, things like that. And you can have this priority, volume, pitch, and stereo pan. Stereo pan, which means whether it's to go to the left side, you hear it more from the left side, or you hear it more from the right side. If you look here, if you put 0 as a stereo pan, it's going to be balanced sound from left side and right side. If you go to negative 1, it's going to be left side. If it's positive 1, it's going to be something from the right side. So all these things you can have actually control over here. Let's try the pitch and the volume. background music, volume. That's a float. Okay, and if we want to make the player change accordingly, according to the value here, we need to actually do it every frame, because every time, anytime it's possible that we change those things, we change the value of these things. Background music volume. Okay, now let's try to adjust those things. Okay, stereo pen. I'm not sure if our system here can hear the difference. So volume, we can, it's no volume, we can increase the volume, change it back, and let's try the stereo pen. Can you hear the difference? Yes, I cannot hear the difference from here. Okay, nice. So that, yeah, you can also have a GUI that controls those volume as well, as a volume and the stereo pen things as well. Yeah, so that's a simple playlist, and then it's the another thing. This is atmosphere sound effect. So it is something related to your game, like the wind. Sometimes if you go to an open area, a wind coming to you, you hear the sound of maybe people are talking to each other in a public area. Those kind of it's not background music. The background music, it can be something that disconnected with the game, or it has some sort of relation to the game. But this has to be related to the environment you are in with the game. So yeah, since we know how to do those control the playing, the next, this thing in our with our code, we know how to control this. We know how to control this volume. We change that. How we change that? So here it's actually basically the same thing. It's just the trigger is different, right? So in the background music player, we play that music. Maybe it's randomly, give you a list and play the list randomly, or play the list with its order, with its original order. But here with this ATM sounds, we try to play it with maybe level or a different game thing, right? So that we need different lists here. Let me just explain that because it's very easy to understand. I don't want to code them line by line. Okay, so first we need a list of that sound. Of course, we need that. And then we need a list of keys. We need a list of keys. What are the list of keys? It's actually we want to map the environment to your. We want to map the environment to your audio clip. Like we map level 1 to the first audio clip. We map, this is a simple map, level 2 to second one, or we map the subway station to audio clip 3, number 3. We map classroom audio clip, classroom to the audio clip number 5, things like that. So that's a list of keys. And also we have a second list. It's a list of key value pair. Key value pair is a pair is composed from string to audio clip. That is what I mentioned, the map. Okay, from level 1 to clip 1, that's one key pair value. From subway station to audio clip number 2, that's a map. Okay, and we have a list of those maps, so that when we actually want to play a music, when we arrive at the subway station, we know that in this game thing we want to play that particular audio clip associated with the subway station. Then we can just use this play, and we give a string like subway station to play that. So how do we implement this play function? Is we go through that list here. We go through that list to see if there's any key value pair that matches the subway station. Then we actually get that audio out to play that. We have this I here, and we get the I element is actually the subway station. So then we have this I value, which is, if you remember the key value pair, the value is actually the clip, the audio clip. So then we get this audio clip, and then we play. So pretty simple. But basically, it's the same thing. Just you have to manipulate. You have to play with this audio source. You play with audio source. One thing to remember. Sometimes we just call play, but actually, before we playing, we need to assign one of the clip to the audio source clip. Then we can call the audio source to play. That's two things. Yeah. So, and also we can also add play repeat. Play repeat is a thing that you just need to set the loop as true. Okay. And here we still have this part. It's the same thing here. We're trying to go through the list to find out that key matches the current environment. Then we get the audio clip with that key. Okay, so that's a play repeat. So this is the play the audio effects with your game environment, game thing. So remember this map. And another thing, is some sound effect. So when you're actually playing some sound effect, you need to have a specific trigger there. instead of so the first one is the background music player. We do not have a trigger, we just let it automatically play, right? But the environment sound, we have some sort of trigger. The trigger is your current environment, whether it's subway or it's level 1, things like that. That's the second thing. Okay, here's the third thing is we have to have specific trigger. Like when you're running, okay. Sometimes when you make your character run, or when you make a character walk, what do? You press the button on your keyboard, make it walk, make it run. Okay. So here, the trigger here is the key. If you have the key code, if you press a Shift plus W here, Shift plus W, you play the run. Then you get the component, you set up the loop, you set up the pitch, and you let it play. You make it play. Okay. Yeah. So this also has that same mapping here. We have 3 lists here. Because if we want to play the sound effects, we want to associate the effect's name and the effect's audio. Okay. So this is the same thing. Basically the same thing. They just the conditions of playing is different. Okay. This is triggered by button. The second one is triggered by your current environment. And the first one we did not actually set up any trigger. We just have a GUI there. Most of the time it played automatically. Okay. So that's the whole thing about this audio clip. How you play those audios in your game. So it should not be very hard. And I have already uploaded everything. Include this music and this code. So yeah, feel free to grab and play with it. All right. Thank you for coming today.